Hello everyone, this is Alex Starkov, and today I will introduce you to the concepts of objects and object-oriented programming. First of all, what are objects? Objects are models of real-world things. If we look around, there are many types of real-world objects around us. There's the table, the car, the dog. A cat is an object. You yourself could also be considered an object. Since the cat seems kind of surprised, why don't we focus on the dog? What is the dog object? Well, it's a real-world object, something that we can see and touch, and it has states and behaviors. The states of the dog would be things like its height, its weight, its name, its color, its breed, and behavior of the object will be things like running, barking, sleeping. The behaviors are responses to the object states, and in turn the state of the object change with the behavior. So for example, if the dog is tired, it may go to sleep, and once the dog is done sleeping, it will no longer be tired. Similarly, if the dog is thirsty, its state is it's thirsty, and its behavior will be to drink. However, as soon as the dog is done drinking, the state of the dog changes to no longer being thirsty. So if the properties of the dog are its state, the behavior of the object is what changes those properties. Now let's look at a software object. Software objects are models of real-world objects, and similar to those, software objects also have behaviors and states. The behaviors of a software object are called methods, and the states of a software object are called variables. The variables are isolated from the outside world in something called encapsulation, so that you can only change them and modify them using the predefined methods. Now let's look at our template of a dog, which will be our dog object. So we already said it's going to have methods and variables, so let's keep it simple and have 4 variables for the properties or states of this dog. So we'll have the dog breed, the dog weight, the name, and the age of the dog. Now, at bare minimum, we will need to have a way to change the breed of the dog and all the other variables of the dog, and we also need to be able to see what the breed of the dog is, as well as we want to be able to see all the other variables. The only way we'll be able to see those, because we already said that encapsulation means those variables will only be accessible through the outside world via the methods. So we need to use the methods to either see or change the variables of our object. So with that being said, what is the purpose of a dog object or object-oriented programming? Well, in Java and C++ and other object-oriented programming languages, there is a way to create a template of an object. So if we had a template of our dog, the template of that object will be written inside a class, which I'll show you in a second. Now the advantage of this is that once you have created the template of a dog, you can now easily create different kinds of dogs using the same template. So for example, you could have a French Bulldog instance or a kind of a dog, and you can also have a German Shepherd. Each different new dog will be called an instance, and it will use the same template as we have already created originally. So for example, if you wanted to create an instance of a French Bulldog, we will have its properties or its variables set to French Bulldog for the breed, puppy for the name, maybe 2.5 pounds for weight, and 2 months as the age. Now, the way we're going to be able to change these dog variables will be through the methods of the dog. The variables of the dog will be isolated from the world, and we will only be able to change them through its methods. And of course, if we wanted to see what those properties or states or variables are, we'll have to use our methods to see those. Similarly, if we wanted to create say a German Shepherd dog, again, all we'll have to do is use the same basic template that we have already and simply use the methods or behaviors of the dog to change its individual properties. The advantage of this is, again, that we no longer have to recreate the same object. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can just simply use something that has already been created and reuse it many times. So you could have an object of a car and just make a different model car with different number of doors, different color, without having to reinvent the whole car from scratch. Now, how does this look like in programming? Well, have a look. This is how a Java class looks like. So it has a beginning of the class, which is the opening curly brackets, and an end of the class. The variables are what you see right there. I have indicated which ones are the variables. You have an age, weight, name, breed, and we'll go over in detail what those different ones are and more detail about what variables are at a later time. The other thing that's part of the class, as we mentioned, are the methods. So there's methods to change the properties or the variables of the class, and there are methods to see the properties or the variables of the class. This is basically your template of a general dog. Now, how can we use this to recreate it or to create a new instance, to create a new type of dog? We do it like so. So for example, if we wanted to create a new German Shepherd, we'll say something like this here, and we'll get into detail about what exactly happens here later. But you can notice that there's the different variables being set through the functions or methods of this object. So for example, change age allows us to change the age to 24, change breed allows us to change the breed, changing the name allows us to change the name, changing the weight allows us to change the weight to a specific number. Now, the advantage of this encapsulation that we talked about earlier is that you don't really have to be concerned with exactly how it is that these things get changed. Once somebody has written these methods for you, you can easily use them without concerning yourself with the detailed code of the actual program. This is similar to how you would interact with, say, your TV. If you were to change the channel, you wouldn't really open up the TV and then try to stick your hand in the TV and try to change the channel that way. No, you have some simpler interface that allows you to interact with the TV, which is the remote control. You simply press a button on the remote control and the volume changes. This is the idea behind these methods, which encapsulate or hide the detail of our dog. We don't really need to know exactly how it is that these things work, but we can easily implement them and make it work for us by just using the provided methods. And similarly, if we wanted to create a new dog instance or a new dog of the French Bulldog type, then we'll do something similar to what I have shown you here. Okay, so this in a nutshell is your introduction to object-oriented programming. Now, if you have any questions, please send me an email and I will have assignments for you to enforce this concept. And I hope that you have enjoyed this presentation.